Are you confused by the differences between public and private cloud? Well, in this Versus episode, we're going to take a look at the differences between these two very important technology sectors. I'm Anthony Sequeira with IT Pro TV, and welcome to this Versus episode. Now, wait a minute. Let's back up a step here. Before we delve into the differences between public and private cloud, let's just remind ourselves, what does it mean to be cloud? These days, it seems like everyone wants to append or prepend the word cloud to their technology so they'll garner more sales, because we all know the cloud is hot and new and exciting. Well, what it really means to be cloud, according to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, is to meet 5 different criteria. You should be engaging in resource pooling in order to take advantage of all that great hardware that you have. You should be able to make resources available on demand for your users. There should be broad network access to the data or the solution. It should be able to dynamically scale up or down or out or in as demand dictates. So if we're having a lot of access one weekend to our solution, it should be able to dynamically scale to meet those access demands and then shrink when no longer required. And then finally, we want to make sure that the cloud service is closely measured. And that's because we can turn around and be billed based on just what we used. Or, as we'll talk about in the case of private cloud, you might want to do a chargeback to a department inside of your enterprise that's using a lot of cloud. So now that we understand just what makes cloud cloud, let's zero in on these different deployment models that we have. The most popular, the one we think of immediately, is public cloud typically. This is where we are going to leverage a cloud provider like Amazon Web Services from Amazon or the Azure service from Microsoft, and we're going to have them take care of all of the provisioning and all of the engineering of the cloud itself. And then we will make our services available in that public cloud. Now, if we do not want that third party involved, we can really follow the blueprint to success that these cloud vendors have had, and we can implement all of this cloud technology in our own data center. So we will be in charge of everything involving the cloud, and we will not rely on a third party. Now, it's interesting because most folks would think that the most popular deployment model would have to be public. I mean, look at the success of AWS and Azure and IBM and Google and Alibaba. I mean, it's got to be public cloud that's the most popular. But what's interesting is the most popular deployment model is actually a blend of the two. That's the hybrid deployment model, and that is hugely popular. Here's why. There's lots of things that we can't do on our own, so we'll go ahead and rely on a public cloud for those things. But for those cloud technologies that we can do in-house, we love to do those in-house. So a hybrid utilization of both public and private cloud is what we see again and again in enterprises today. As I record this, I'm at our beautiful IT Pro TV headquarters here in Gainesville, Florida, and we are a hybrid cloud shop, relying on AWS for some things, Azure for some things, and our own private data center utilizing cloud tech for yet other things. Now, If we wanted to give a startup example here, we could use this great idea for a company that I have, and it's Cat Pro TV, because the internet just doesn't have enough cat videos and photographs. So Cat Pro TV is a new and exciting startup, and sure enough, there are aspects of Cat Pro TV that my IT department and we just cannot figure out how we're going to be able to afford. For instance, the fast delivery of cat videos all over the world, not to mention our great Cat Pro TV t-shirts. That's tough to say. So the aspects of the Cat Pro TV site and solution that we can't handle ourselves, we've decided to have AWS help us with. But many of the processes of our great Cat Pro TV company can be done in our own private cloud. A great example of that is the initial improvements of the audio and video of these videos and photographs. That's done in our own private cloud with AWS helping us with that global distribution. Now, just as there are a variety of technologies that we could use to build our own private cloud, we could be relying on Cisco and VMware and NetApp. We could be relying on all these different technologies to help build the private cloud in our organization. Keep in mind, there's options when it comes to public cloud. We all know about AWS being the market leader, but we know that Microsoft isn't all that far behind. In fact, interestingly, Microsoft beats AWS now in revenue. But yeah, there are options out there. And I'll tell you this, if you use IT Pro TV training to learn something like AWS, well, trust me, learning Azure and Google Cloud Platform, it's so much easier. Once you know one public cloud, it's really easy to learn the others. So is there any one solution, one deployment model that's best? No, there really isn't. There are subtle and not so subtle differences between them. For example, if you need 100% full control over your solution, well, public cloud is not for you. You're going to lean more towards private cloud where you can be in control of all of the technology. Even though you may be spending a ton of money with AWS, it's not like you can show up at the data center in your local geography and say, I want a tour and I want to see my server and I want this and I want that. They won't even let you in. So the complete control can be a big factor, as well as your initial capital expenditures. Many of us, like here at Cat Pro TV, I don't have the money to buy all of the infrastructure that would be needed for my private cloud, so I might start in the public cloud and then slowly migrate to more of a private cloud approach. As a matter of fact, that is exactly the path of companies like Netflix and Dropbox and many of these other giants. They started out almost all public, and now they're almost all private. We can't forget about the hybrid option too, for when we want to experience the best of both worlds. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Versus episode where we took a detailed look at public versus private cloud, and we've got more great Versus episodes coming up for you here at the IT Pro TV YouTube channel, so you be sure to subscribe. And don't forget to hit that little bell so you can be notified when the next great Versus episode is revealed. Thanks so much for watching.